Welcome back to Mimi's Organic Eats. Today we're making a lattice spiced apple pie. This take on the traditional apple pie uses allspice and nutmeg in addition to cinnamon, giving you a cozy, warm, and delicious apple pie that everyone at your Thanksgiving table will absolutely love. So let me show you how to make it. So the first step is making our pie crust. So I have 226 grams of all-purpose flour and 1 teaspoon of cane sugar in the bowl of my stand mixer. And now if you guys want to make pie crust by hand, you can totally do that too. Either one is fine. You just don't want to use a hand mixer whenever making pie crust because the beaters are not really the same thing as the paddle or as like your hand. We definitely don't want to beat or whip the butter whenever making pie crust. So next I have 7 tablespoons of cold water and I have this ready to go. You want to make sure that your butter is the last thing that you're doing, that way it stays super cold. One of the keys to flaky pie crust is super cold butter. So I have 170 grams of salted butter that is cold straight from the fridge, and we're going to cut this into small cubes. I like to cut the butter sticks in half and then cut each half into thirds. This is going to give me the perfect size of little butter cubes. Once your butter is chopped into small cubes, just like this, then we're going to add it into the mixing bowl. Now you just want to have your cold water ready. We're not going to add this in just yet. We're going to mix this on low until the mixture looks like wet sand. And all that means is the butter chunks will be completely coated in flour and broken up just a little bit. As soon as that happens, then you're going to immediately add in all the cold water. Continue to mix until the dough comes together. You don't want to overmix pie dough, so if you see a little bit of dry bits, that's okay. Go ahead and stop the mixer and we can finish mixing that in by hand. So if your pie dough seems like it's a little bit dry on the bottom, just go ahead and mix it by hand. You just want to mix it together enough so that there's no dry bits of flour. But if you see little pieces of butter, that is totally okay. We actually want that. So I have 2 pieces of plastic wrap ready here. This is going to be for our top and our bottom pie crust. You want to divide this into 2 portions. The bottom's going to be about 312 grams and the top is going to be about 170 grams. Then you just want to form this into a disc. This is going to help you roll it out later, just like this, and place it on the plastic wrap. Now we're just going to wrap these up tightly so that they don't dry out. Now it's time to store these in the fridge and let them chill for at least 4 hours or overnight. I'm using farm fresh apples today from my farm box. You guys can use any kind of apples that you want for this recipe, but my favorite are more of the sweeter variety. So we're going to mix up our filling ingredients first, then we're going to slice the apples and we'll mix it all together. So I have 57 grams of organic cane sugar, 57 grams of light brown sugar. Next I have 21 grams of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. So I always use a little bit of cornstarch and a little bit of all-purpose flour in my pie filling. This is going to ensure that it solidifies the fruit juices while the pie bakes. This is going to prevent your pie crust from becoming soggy on the bottom, and it's also going to allow you to get perfectly clean cut slices as soon as you cut the pie, and the juices won't all run out. If you guys are avoiding corn or you don't want to use cornstarch, you can use tapioca starch, arrowroot, or even potato starch in its place. So classic apple pie always has cinnamon, so we're doing 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Then I'm also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. This trio of spices is going to make this apple pie so warm and cozy and just a little bit different from the classic. So we're going to set our filling aside and now it's time to chop the apples. So we're going to need 3 large apples, but if your apples are on the smaller side like mine are today because they came from my farm box, then you can use 4. You just want to make sure you guys have enough apples to fill the pie pan completely, so you can always do a little bit more if needed. And once you slice the apples, you can just start adding them into the bowl with the filling. And if you'll notice, I don't peel my apples. I never peel my apples for apple pie. This is how we made apple pie at my bakery. It's so much faster, easier, and you get all the nutrients that are in that apple skin, so I don't see any reason to peel it off. Now you're just going to mix the apples and the sugars together to coat the apples completely. I just like to do this with my hands. Now that our filling is all mixed together, we're going to set this aside and roll out the pie crust. You also want to make sure that our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. So we want to take our pie crust out of the fridge. Now we want to make sure that we wait and take the pie crust out of the fridge until right before you're going to roll it out. This is going to ensure that the pie crust is cold and you have that buttery, flaky crust, because having cold butter is what is the key to the most buttery, flaky pie crust. So you also want to make sure that you have your pie pan ready to go. I'm using my aluminum pie pan today. This is one of my top choices for getting the most buttery, flaky pie crust because it's not only a matter of cold butter, your pie dish also makes a huge difference. I have a whole video explaining on which pie pans are best for baking. I'll link that in the description. But the main three to remember are going to be cast iron, aluminum, and stainless steel. Stay away from everything else. You want to flour your pie crust and your surface just a little bit. We don't need a lot. And we're going to start by rolling out our bottom pie crust first. One of my top tricks for rolling out pie crust evenly is going to be rolling your pie crust a little bit, then flipping it about 45 degrees, then rolling a little bit more, then rotate it another 45 degrees. This is going to ensure that you get an even pie crust. If you notice your pie crust is sticking, just lift it up, add a little bit more flour on top, and start rolling again. So we want to roll our pie crust out to a 1/4 inch thick, but we also want to make sure that it just folds right over the edge of the pie pan. So I grab my pie pan and place it right on top, and it looks like the pie crust is like a little bit larger than the pie pan. This means it's perfect. So then we're just going to add the pie crust into the pie pan. Then lightly press the sides of the pie crust and the bottom just to kind of form it to the pie pan. You don't want to press it too much. Now we're going to roll out the top. And if you're new to making pie or it takes you a little bit longer to roll out your pie, that's okay, but you can go ahead and pop the bottom pie crust in the fridge during this time so that it can keep chilled while you're rolling out the top. So once the top pie crust is rolled out to a little bit larger than the pie pan, then it's ready. And now we're going to lattice this pie crust, and so we're going to cut the top pie crust into 1-inch strips. My favorite way to do this is with a pizza cutter because it works so well. As you can see, we have 1-inch strips of pie dough now. Set these aside and grab the pie pan and the apple filling. Transfer the apple filling to the pie pan and spread it out evenly. Then take the cut pie dough strips and place them on top of the apple pie filling, spacing them 1 inch apart. Use the larger strips for the middle of the pie and the shorter strips for the edges. Then pull back every other strip and lay another strip perpendicular to the strips you just laid. Continue to do this until the pie is completely latticed. Then taking a paring knife, trim off excess pie dough so it's even with the edge of the pie pan. This will help ensure that the crust is not too thick. Then fold in that excess pie dough into the center of the pie pan to create the crust. Using your pointer finger of one hand and thumb and pointer of the other, flute the edges of the pie crust. Now that our pie crust is latticed, it's time to just add the pie wash. So I'm just using 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to brush this on top of the pie. I love using heavy whipping cream in place of eggs because it works just as well and it's so much easier, and you don't have to waste a whole egg, so you're definitely saving money. And you just want to brush the whole pie with the heavy whipping cream, just get all the lattice strips and the edges of the pie crust. This is going to ensure you get that golden brown pie crust when the pie bakes. Now we're going to sprinkle this with turbinado sugar. This is going to give it a beautiful texture and a little bit of crunch. So if you guys don't have turbinado sugar, just go ahead and skip this step. You don't want to use regular cane sugar or granulated sugar here because that's just going to melt into the pie crust, which is not ideal. The turbinado sugar is a larger sugar crystal, so that granule isn't going to melt into the pie crust. That's what's going to give it this beautiful texture. So my top trick whenever baking pies is to place your pie pan on a baking sheet. This is going to ensure that even if your pie leaks a little bit, it's just going to go right onto the baking sheet and not onto your oven. So now we're going to bake this at 350 degrees for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes or until it is golden brown to your liking. Don't be afraid to bake your pie a little bit longer until the crust is golden brown. All ovens are a little bit different and a few extra minutes on pie is not going to make a big deal. And now we have a delicious lattice spiced apple pie. This lattice spiced apple pie is sure to be a hit at your Thanksgiving table this year. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and leave a comment below. And if you want more organic Thanksgiving recipes just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join me next time in the kitchen.